Chapter, and also without Harriet's Botanical. So we're extremely grateful for their input here. So before we formally begin our panel this morning, I've just seen Noah walking out. I need him to come here and talk to us. I'll ask him to come back and talk to us as soon as he walks back into the room. But the agenda today is for us to unpack and to get to understand just what climate change means to us, not just in this room, but to the communities that we work amongst, and more so within our food systems value chain. And I think we've all now learned that it is impossible to work in a silo or to work as a particular organization or sector without cross-pollinating with others who are not just in this room but beyond this room. So this is only literally but a drop in the ocean of the people that we need to continue to communicate with and to work with on matters climate change and climate action. So is Noah back or is he outside? You could get Noah for me, please. Thank you very much. We're going to get him back just to come in here. So each of our panels, there's a lot to be spoken about and a lot to be discussed. I will implore each of our moderators to try and manage their panelists, and the panelists also. I'll employ on all of us to try and be as succinct as possible so that hopefully we can also have an engagement with our audiences. Okay, but I think it's important that I'd like us to all to get to know each other, all of us in this room. So if you don't mind, we're going to send a mic around, and I'll just ask you to introduce yourself and your organization or where you come from. So just make it very simple, your name, your organization, and one last thing, what your expectations are at the end of the day. Is that okay? Good. Can I get another mic, please? Great, so we'll start off with the table here. We can start off from that table at the back there. Okay, there, here's the lady. Sure. If you could please stand so that everybody can just see you, if that's okay, great.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning all. My name is Barbara Diablo, and I'm from ICSS, which is the Integrated Center for Sustainable Systems. And my expectation here today is to learn more. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shalom Hogra. I'm from Sinefa. And I think my expectations also is to learn more and to see how...
So, okay, wait, so we can't, so another rule, please don't give acronyms. Please tell us exactly what your acronyms stand for so we all know and can properly engage with you. And I assure you, not going to bite you, so just speak up, guaranteed.
All right, so our name is not an acronym, first of all. Sinefa is just Sinefa. It means cloud in Greek. So my expectation for this meeting is just to learn and also to get to, interact with everyone and educate on how technology can be used to do smart climate farming. Yes.
Morning, everyone. My name is Juma Jared from Sinefa, and Sinefa basically works with farmers to make the complex processes simple. I really look forward to interacting with each and every one of you and share our expertise in tech, also in agriculture. Thank you.
Morning everyone, my name is Ritika Sood and I am from Agrifin, Mercycore Agrifin, the Sprout program. I lead their partnerships and my expectations here are to learn more about how women can be integrated in our food systems, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Good morning everyone, my name is Nekesa Wafula. I'm in charge of business development services at Crop Nutrition Laboratory Services, basically known as Crop Nuts Limited. We're known for soil testing, and my expectation today is to interact first, network, and also just to get the next steps, because I believe that in most meetings people discuss, then afterwards, when we leave that door, then it ends there, but I would want to have the next steps so that we can move forward. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Benson Mutuku. I'm a gender expert supporting our clients across Africa, and I'm here to share experiences as well as learn from the team. Thank you so much.
Good morning everyone, my name is Benedict Kariuki. I'm a management consultant. I'm here courtesy of Couragen, and whatever we are going to discuss today, the response is the strategy.
Good morning everyone. My name is Oliver Swani. I'm a PR and marketer by trade. And I'm here just to also try and sell a different notion of how we can storify what we do in agriculture. So part of why I'm here is that we're trying to set up a convergence point where all of you in agriculture can share your stories, tell what you do, because going forward, agriculture is a knowledge-based industry, and that you all hold this knowledge in silos. I want to create a space where now we can share that knowledge, and we can make sure that the people you're targeting can access that knowledge.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucy Wangare, commonly known as Onion Doctor. I am here to talk more about climate action at the farm level, because we work with smallholder farmer, and I am a farmer myself. And I'm hoping to get a lot of partnerships moving forward. A lot of partners coming in to help us move forward, and also challenging me to do better for myself and for all the farmers that I work with. And I'm glad to be here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nasike Claire. I work at Greenpeace, and I'm here to learn, to interact, and most importantly, to share knowledge. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Helen Kahaso. I'm a communication manager working for Greenpeace Africa. Climate action is at the center of what we do, so I'm here to share, to learn more, and just to interact with everyone. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Ndonya. I am here in two capacities. One, I'm a team member of Water Ranch. Water Ranch is an eco-farm in Machakos, and then also as a student from Daystar University. I'm working on a PhD thesis on the role of communication in climate change adaptation. So I'm also here to interact and most of all to learn.
Good morning. Yeah, my name is Daphne Muchai, working with the Women Farmers Association of Kenya. I'm excited to be in this room because I see solutions to climate change, and especially implementation of the many, many interventions that are there. So my number one goal is to learn, network, and see how together we can bring this intervention to the farmers. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sophia Dupoy, Head of Public Affairs at Cocoa Networks. I'll be telling you more about Cocoa Networks. But for me, my main objective here is obviously to speak about our experience and see how others can learn from our experience, but also see what I can pick from other people. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Beverly Mugure. I am a farmer and I'm a crop pathologist. I work mainly with women in Kajiado County to empower them through sustainable agriculture, but I also work with other youths in different parts of Kenya. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Rihanna. I work in the family business in steel manufacturing. Not really from an agricultural background, but here to learn more about climate change and the agricultural industry. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Anya. I'm a student at Durham University studying geography, but climate change is a topic of interest for me, so excited to be here and learn.
Hi, my name is Serena. I just finished university, so my first summer since I graduated, but I'm not really from an agricultural background either, so I'm very much here to learn on that front. But the role of clean and renewable energy is very much down my field of study, so that's specifically why I'm here. I'm very excited to interact with everyone and learn more.
Let's pass it on the table at the back.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wamboco. I am a communications specialist, but I have worked in the agricultural sector for some time. That's how I met Noah and got into contact with Afarmers. And I am interested in the climate change conversation. COP27 is coming to Africa. It has never been to Africa. It is now coming to be discussed on our land. It is important that we have this conversation, and this is why I am here, because I am interested in making Africa a better place, because Africa has so much potential. The stories we tell should be positive. The implementation of what we discuss is key, and that's why I am here, to also get to meet all these beautiful people who are here with smart brains and great ideas that we can put to work.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Catherine Wamboco. I call myself Apple Ambassador. I'm behind my dad, who started an apple in Kenya, and it is the only apple doing very fine across the Kenya and across Africa. And I'm carrying his flag and encouraging other farmers. So I belong here to these farmers, and I'm proud to see such a setup for farmers. You know, we are known in the family, but here we are. So thank you so much for the organizers. I belong here, and thank you so much. At the end of the day, I'll learn more and get more things that I don't know, and we help each other. God bless you.
Sorry, I have to interrupt right there. I know you, but you've changed your hair. I've watched you on YouTube, so I was wondering where I knew you from. Of course I know you. Yes, I have watched all the videos. You know, excellent. Karibu sana. Sorry about that. Okay, great.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Jenga from Apple Orchards Limited. I'm here to support the Apple Ambassador. We are here to introduce and to learn more about apple growing in Kenya. Currently, we are in 17 countries in Africa. And as far as in Jamaica, we have introduced the apple farming. And we are here to learn more and to interact more and to bring out the notion that apples grow in Kenya, not in South Africa. Thank you so much.
So there's one more person. Yes, and then.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosanne Muangi, and I am an agripreneur, originally in the potato agri-space, and more recently doing potato waste management through the amazing Black Soldier Flag. And I'm glad to be here to hold the discussions, listen to the rest of us, and learn and exchange. Thank you very much.
And just this one more person in front of you here. There. Right, exactly. Absolutely, Sheena.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late, so welcome. I'm really, really excited to be here.
Sheena, if you please just stand so they can all see you. Thank you. Great.
Basically pointing out my height, so I wrote down very, very well. Yes, hi everyone, my name is Sheena Raikandalia. I'm the country director for the UK Kenya Tech Hub. So basically that's part of the British government. And obviously Tech Hub, so I'm quite excited about the second panel. But more than that, I think what's really, really important to me is the importance of tech in sectors like agriculture. And actually, I keep telling everyone, and I say this to Noah, where is Noah? I say this to Noah all the time. We don't have a food problem in Kenya or in Africa. We have a data and a logistics problem. Let's solve that. Not only will we feed ourselves, we will feed the world. And the second thing I want to say is, let's go back to being proud of our traditional vegetables. Let me tell you something. Terere that we call poor man's food, that's amaranth. That's expensive. I used to buy ridiculously expensive amaranth crackers for my child because I was told they're high in protein. My nanny comes home, I make this for you at home, this is terere. And I was just like, we need to market ourselves. Kale is a superfood in the US, in the West. Why isn't Sukuma? So that's kind of what I'm here for, and really, really excited to learn from others.
Wow. So a round of applause to all of you. So great. And to the lady who just finished her college and says that she doesn't really know much about agriculture. If you eat food, you know agriculture. So that's to everybody in this room. So just a very quick one, just some house rules. Please, if you need to get online, the password is @trade2017, one word, it's all lowercase. Please do get online. And then the hashtag we're using on all the various social media platforms that you're on is Climate Smart Agriculture, all one word, hashtag. So that's hashtag Climate Smart Agriculture. Okay, so we're just about to kick it off, and I'll speak a little bit about 4BM later on after Afarmers speaks, so I can tell you why there is this partnership between Afarmers and 4BM Forgotten Bottom Million. So I'm going to ask Noah Nasiali to please come forward, the founder and the CEO of Afarmers Media.
Morning to all. Thank you very much. I really feel honored. I feel honored to have you here. It is a very interesting day for me and the team at Afarmers for one main reason. We have been talking to farmers. We've talked to farmers. We've told them to produce. We've told them to do all these things. But what we have not told them is how to face the world. Then there's all this jargon that comes, climate action, climate change, climate smart agriculture. Do these farmers understand what this is? Or are we sitting somewhere and discussing that farmers need this? We were here up to late yesterday. So if you see my red eye, it's sleep, nothing else. So, and we saw it was raining here. And going back all the way to Mombasa Road, we realized it wasn't raining. And farmers get confused. My farm manager calls me today and says it's really raining a lot in Kajiado. And this is what is happening. But smallholder farmers do not understand this. Something else that they don't understand is that they don't see the relevance of jargon when they're not selling their produce. Then we go and talk about markets, that there are no markets. Markets are there. But how do farmers take their produce to the market? When farmers go and sell their produce, how do they spend their money? They have to get energy. So when we sat as a team and decided to have this forum here, we sat and asked ourselves, who is going to be in this forum? And we realized that the biggest challenge that farmers are facing, especially the women farmers, is access to all these other things. Energy that is affordable, apart from just energy that is affordable, also, who is this person who is already doing this? And so we said, everybody is doing some small bits in their own small spaces. And I think the first person I talked to was Kate, and she asked me, why would I come to a hotel to talk about what I do? I said, what you do is very interesting. They grow apples, by the way. And I hope today we're going to get some discount. And it is because we have women farmers who are doing amazing stuff. We have women who are also supporting farmers as well. And there's this famous saying, I don't know how true that is, but I think it is true, that if women were given the same resources as men, then we would have 150 million people less facing hunger. And that is now where climate and farming come and close the gap. So for me, I wouldn't say much. Farmers Media has gone through a lot of change. It started with a failed farmer who grew cabbages, and 75,000 cabbages could not reach the market. It was actually expensive, and my dear wife, who is sitting there, told me, we're going to cook for you cabbage soup, because I kept on taking cabbages. I couldn't sell 75,000 cabbages. And this is a challenge that farmers are facing. They produce. We give them, we tell them very good fertilizer and all this. Then there's one time a farmer asked me, actually they called me after some time, after watching some videos that I'd done for onion farming, and told me, I have 18 tons, where do I take it? So the challenge that farmers are facing is not just production. I mean, if you want to research how to grow tomatoes, you'll get, I think, everywhere. But what about these other things? What about irrigation systems? We talk about agri-tech, but what is this agri-tech? You know, and one of our friends is here from Sinefa, and I think they asked me, Shalom, the team asked me, why would we come there? Can we see the profile of those who are coming? And I think at that point we were like, okay, interesting. But the reason being, what they do, which will be highlighted in the second panel, is basic tech solutions that farmers can actually use. And I was talking to Jerry in the morning. My farm manager sometimes calls me and tells me, there's not so much sun, and that is in Kajiado, so we were not able to water. Sometimes they tell you, oh, you know, we had to, you fenced an area, and then slowly they start cutting. You wonder what happened to the fence. They say they're using it for firewood. And Sophie, that is where you come in. So as you sit in this room, one of the things that we want to really bring out is, can we start forming synergies? Can we start collaborating? Can we start doing these things together? So Afarmers Media, we are an interesting team of people who want to tell the story of African farmers. But as you will hear from this meeting and going forward, we want to help the people in the industry, agriculture industry. Climate plays the biggest role in agriculture, to connect, learn and grow. So thank you very much. I really feel honored for you to be here. We hope that we're going to interact more. And if I don't get to speak again, Mike might not give me another chance, is that I hope we're going to have a peaceful election and moving forward to form better synergies to close that gap of jargon versus reality. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much, Noah. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you. So very quickly, Forgotten Bottom Millions, 4BM, that's the banner that you see on my right-hand side. We're the single largest and the most trusted WhatsApp platform in the whole of Kenya. We reach over 500,000 people every single week, and what we simply do is we ensure that people on our platforms, which are across all the 47 counties, have access to fully verified socio-economic opportunities that help them change their lives and help them put money into their pockets. So we work, some of the opportunities that we share, of course, are jobs, but beyond jobs, we also share, and the jobs that we share are both local and global jobs. We share remote jobs, which Kenyans are allowed to work from, locally from here. I think this past week we just posted a job where the salary is between 4 and 6 million shillings a year. It's for a digital manager. It's a remote job. That's just one example of the jobs that we post. But beyond that, we have people studying all around the world on fully funded and fully paid scholarship opportunities. This is from bachelor's to master's to PhD without anybody ever having paid a cent or a penny. So everything that we share on our platform is fully verified, and there's no money required. Nobody pays a cent for it. If you're not on our platform, well, that's what you've been missing, and you'll keep missing out. If you want to know more about our platform, at the table, there's Bravin who's doing the registration. He'll be able to give you a bit more information. Farming for us is a very interesting space and field because, like I said, we're interested in socio-economic opportunities, and we want to ensure that no matter where you are, no matter what your interests are, even around food systems, we want to ensure that our people on our platform have access to information and qualified and expertise information that can help them become either better farmers, but if not that, better people within the whole value chain of the food system. So it's not just about being on the farm alone, because there's many other things along the way of the whole food systems. So that's it for now about 4BM. We are online. You can Google us and you'll find us there to get a bit more information about who we are and what else that we do. So without much ado, I would like us to get our program going. And I'm going to call Jackie Kimentu to please come and sit forward as we get her other panelists. So everybody on the first panel, could you please come forward? Nekesa, please come forward with Fuller. Barbara, Diablo, please come forward. Benson, kindly come forward. And Lucy, Onion Doctor, please come forward too. So this is our first panel on climate smart agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there's so much to talk about. It's going to be a challenge for all of us. So there, Jackie? Great, fantastic, good. So we respect everybody that's in this room. We value your time, and we're grateful that you're all here. We're going to try and, we'll keep it to 30 minutes. I will, of course, give absolute leeway to Jackie to decide how it is that she will run her panel. So without much ado, I'll just turn it over to her, and she'll introduce what the theme is that we're going to discuss during this panel discussion. We'll end this panel discussion at 9:57, and that is 9:57. 9:57, so that we can set a precedent for the next panels too. Jackie, welcome, and we'll give you microphones for yourself and for your panelists.
Thank you so much, Michael. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, as you've heard, my name is Jacqueline Kemuta. I'm the team lead at Afarmers Media. Thank you so much, my panelists, for being here on time. Yeah, the team. So our theme for this discussion is going to be on climate smart. And we chose this climate smart agriculture as one of the ways that can help solve this challenge of climate change. And we need to help the women who are looking at us. By the way, we are live on Afarmers Media. You can tell everyone to log in and follow the discussion. If they have any comments, they can also share on our Facebook page. So you have to bring us the, oh, you have the mics. Okay, so now to get the ball rolling, because I've been given only 30 minutes, what exactly, we need to understand what exactly is climate smart agriculture, and I'll throw it to you, Nekesa, first. But before we begin, actually, let everyone know who we are. I've introduced myself, so just a brief about yourself.
My name is Nekesa Afula, and I facilitate farmers to be able to access services to improve their productivity at Crop Nutrition Laboratory Services.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucy. I work with onion farmers. I am an onion farmer, and we mainly work on producing onion in a climate smart way and selling it to the Nairobi market.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Barbara Diablo. I'm an accountant by profession, but with a deep passion in agriculture, and hence I founded the Integrated Center for Sustainable Systems. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Benson Mutuku. I'm a gender expert, supported clients, that is government, private sector, and also non-governmental institutions on agriculture, food security, and nutrition. And the real basis is to look on how we can integrate gender and nutrition across our programs, as well as looking on how to bring in men, women, boys, and girls together. Thank you.
So now to introduce our theme for this hour, we are talking about climate smart agriculture. Why should we encourage women to embrace climate smart agriculture, and how is it connected to this whole talk about climate change and climate action? Okay.
Well, thank you for that question. So it's actually, research was done, and it was found out that 70% of the food in Africa is produced by women. And having this in mind, then we need to see how we can make a more secure, a more food secure Africa. And so we need to encourage women to understand how they can incorporate climate smart so that we can actually have more food production in Africa. Thank you.
We talk about climate smart. This one is to the onion doctor. You said you're doing onion in a climate smart way. What exactly is this climate smart for people to understand? Bring it home.
bringing it home, I will borrow a lot from onion farming, but it can apply to any other crop. So when you talk about climate smart, number one, we want to get away from depending on what is outside. Is it raining? Is it not raining? Can I still produce? So number one, I'll talk about climate smart irrigation systems. For example, will enable you to produce your food year-round. Number two, are you producing sustainably? Are you incorporating organic ways, or if organic farming is quite impossible, are you trying to do integrated pest management? Number three, when you're producing your onions, are you trying to, at the edges, to add sukuma wiki or something else so that you can have food for yourself, to have a balanced diet for yourself, rather than going to the market? I'm an onion farmer, but I'm going to buy cabbages. Am I monocropping? What is crop rotation to me? Those are all the things that, I'm looking at when I'm talking about producing my onions in a climate smart way. So I'm talking about simple management practices that help us to shield us from the negative effects of climate change, and also that helps us becoming resilient in our production.
Very nice. Now, Nekesa, how does climate smart agriculture get connected to this whole talk about climate change?
I want to link climate smart agriculture to soil, because everything that my colleagues have talked about, Wangare and Barbara, are all linked to the soil. If you look at the practices, Barbara has clearly put it, 70% of the farmers are actually women. And if you look at the food crops, these are handled by women. So when we are talking about the practices that women do, let's first of all look at on-farm. Someone just mentioned about their fence being picked and used as firewood. That's what women do. When we farm maize, we want to use the stalks for, animal feeds. When we farm coffee, when we are pruning, we want to use the prunings for firewood. So it's basically we are taking what is on farm and using it, for other purposes other than improving the soil health. And now let me link that to now what Wangare is talking about. When you're talking about resilience, where does it come from? It comes from the nutrition from the soil. If you're not able to balance the nutrients in the soil, all the parameters that are required for crop production, then we have a problem. And specifically, we're talking about carbon. Carbon is the main contribution or contributing factor towards climate change, and this is mostly attributed to agricultural activities. When you're talking about plowing, we're using tractors, we're releasing a lot of methane from the tractors, the gas. We are releasing a lot of carbon from the practices we are doing. We are clearing our trees on farm, so there's nothing that is being used to do the carbon cycling. So we are basically affecting everything around climate change and everything that leads to that. So the main aim is to start from the soil. How do we put back those nutrients that we're taking away? How do we complete that cycle, that carbon cycle? And most of this is through the activities that we do on farm. Planting more trees, making sure we have enough vegetative cover. When you're doing your soil testing, I'll link that now to soil testing. If you're doing soil testing, you know what is imbalanced in the soil, you know what to put back. Soil testing has been a major thing, and now we're looking at soil health, not just testing the soil and putting in recommendations, but looking holistically at soil health. Soil health encompasses that organic matter that Wangare has talked about. Are we putting that back as farmers? So that's how I would look at it.
Now, all of you ladies have talked about women, 70% of women being able to produce, to feed close to 150 million people plus. But I'm of a different opinion, and I'll throw it to now our audience. Anyone can feel free to answer. Do you believe that the 70% that these ladies are talking about of women in the world can be able to feed this world, and we can be able to have food security? Do you believe on the zero hunger SDG, zero hunger notion? Can women be able to, if they're given all the resources like men, will they be able to reduce hunger of 150 million people? I think you believe? Why?
I think as a start, women and specifically mothers are able to feed their families. So at a very basic unit, they've already achieved. So I don't think it's much of a lift for you to then open it up and tell them, how about you feed the village? How about you feed the town? How about you feed the country? For me, it's just how do you take the tools and the skills they already have and upskill them to be able now to operate at over a larger area. Thank you.
Hi, really, really good question. And in fact, it's a debate that goes around globally, right? Smallholder farmers versus big commercial farms, etc. I think the answer is a bit more nuanced than yes or no. I think the problems are larger. So I think if the problems, and I keep saying, if the data, the distribution, and that side of it is sorted, then yes, I think so. But it's not just about smallholder farmers producing, right? It's more than 70% of crops are wasted. How is that going to feed the world? Go to Taita Taveta, there's tomatoes rotting. People in Mombasa don't have tomatoes. So I think the problem is not that the smallholder farmers don't have resources, it's the way the system has been set up. It's more distribution, it's logistics, it's data. If we solve those problems, then yeah, I truly believe that smallholder farmers can do this. And in line with that, it's a value addition. The problem with big commercial farms, yes, they're more productive, and we see this in the US and everywhere else. Are they climate smart? You know, actually, and we go back to traditional irrigation, traditional practices, right? So I know of a startup who's using traditional African knowledge plus data, weather data, to predict drought. Now, that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of innovation that we need that will help. So the answer is nuanced. It's yes, I do think so, but provided X, Y, and Z things are right.
Still on you, what needs to be done to fill that gap? Like, because there is a disconnect.
So one, I think we need to, as government, as people, we need to make data available. We need to have a data, so for example, at this point in life, in Kenya, nobody knows who grows what where. So I think there's a lady sitting here who works for a processor. I was speaking to some agro-processor people in the company, and they said to me, I will set up a tomato processing plant if I knew that I was getting a consistent supply of tomatoes, willing to set up a plant. But instead, he's importing these tomatoes from Uganda. So one is, we need to have a portal, we need to have information as who is growing what where, and we already have the technology for that. Number two, we need to sort out the logistics, right? If you think about it generally, think about transport, think about trucks, matatu, trucks, borders, whatever. So many trucks are going from one location to another, coming back empty. There is spare capacity. We need to use that spare capacity to make it efficient. Thirdly, we need to sell our products. We need to why are we having the best cashews in the world in Mombasa, sending them to India for polishing and buying them back at double the price? So some of the things I would say would be, again, data, ensuring good distribution networks, and it doesn't have to be difficult. And I think once we prove the case, we can go to the governments and say, hey, help us with this, or we can go to donors and say, fund. Right now our mentality is, let's wait for things to change and then it'll get better. Let's wait for people to help us. No one's going to help you. So help yourselves and then money will follow. Sorry, I'm very blunt.
Yeah. Thank you. I concur with them. Okay. All right. Thank you. My name is Daphne Mushai, working with the Women Farmers Association of Kenya. And yes, but as she has just said, the interventions up there on the ladder, very beautiful, very implementable, but down where it matters, they are not there. So if that disconnect is handled properly, then we'll have ourselves feeding not only our country, not only the continent of Africa, but the entire world. Yes, that's what I wanted to add.
Yes. Thank you very much. My name is Beverly Mugore. I think working very close in the rural communities, I think the way to go about is to revive cooperatives and to really work on uniting communities, because one problem that we are having, as she was mentioning, is that we know that we have the farmers, but farmers need to be organized. Because if we don't organize them, then we have a big problem. Yes, we have a big problem in logistics and everything, but I think it's important to revive cooperatives, because cooperatives are the ones that will assist these farmers so that we can know who are growing French beans, who are growing tomatoes, how are we doing value addition, how are we checking the diseases and pest intervention. So for me, I think, yes, women can grow this food, but the real problem in the rural communities and the farmers is that the farmers are not as organized as they're supposed to be. And once we get them together in cooperatives, then we can be able to move forward and see the real problems because they're in a group. Yeah, that's my take.
Let's get a gentleman's voice first, then I'll come back to you.
Okay, I think one of the, Benedict Kariuki from AK Strategy, I think one of the solutions probably I can offer, and actually attaching the one for platforms, is this government works, and the governments in Africa work on winners. We've seen that it is, when they win, it's when the government steps in. So we need to build these platforms on our own, and then when they win, that's when the government will actually come in.
Jackie, let me know when you want to take it back up there.
That's an interesting question. You asked if women are able, 70% of women can feed the world. My answer is yes and no. Reason being, hunger or food insecurity or effects of climate change are not only caused by one thing. You find that there are different aspects that bring about either hunger within the community or in a country. So I don't know if someone just mentioned right now about collaboration. You find that there are economic causes, social causes, physical causes, things like climate change, legal issues that bring about the hunger. So if there's collaboration between the different stakeholders, then women will be able to feed the country. We cannot say that we'll only work with farmers. Farmers can only do as much. If there is no infrastructure, if there is no policy, if there is no market, there is research. Research cannot work alone. You cannot do research and put your research findings on the shelf. They need to come back and be implemented by the farmers. But is there collaboration within the different stakeholders?
Jackie, if I could just quickly put a word in also myself. I'm shocked by that question because it is women who feed us. I'm shocked because, and let me speak also from my own personal point of view. My mother's 76. Every single morning between 7 and 10, in fact right now she's still on the farm. My workers, 80% of them are women. Let's stop pretending it is women who feed us. Maybe the problem is that we need to get men involved in this, and the men need to get off their butts. And I'll tell you this, travel on any rural community, I don't care, around this country, because I'm very observant. You'll find all the men sitting on the roadside doing nothing, and the women are the ones who are working. But the men are all on the roadside. You never find a group of women sitting on the roadside. If they're sitting, they have their tomatoes in front of them, or they have something they're standing, but the men never. They're just sitting by the roadside. Sorry, back to you.
Michael on that. Yes, women are working. Yes, they are always on the field, but they're the least paid. They're the least paid. Do these women know what climate smart agriculture is, or they're just practicing agriculture for the sake of practicing? And how many women do you know who are taking up cash crop farming? Let's give Benson a chance. He's not had a word since we began.
Sure, thank you so much for that great question. And I will start by sharing an experience of a program we implemented in 5 countries. And within this experience, we started by conducting a gender analysis to help us understand where do we see men and where do we see women in terms of agriculture and also the issues of climate smart agriculture. And one of the things that we realized is that most men were saying that their backs were not created to bend. So what does that tell you? That every person, women are the ones who are doing weeding, they are the ones who are carrying the luggage and even taking to the market, but the proceeds come back to men. Then within the same program, in that analysis, we were also working on transferring a stipend for women so that they can also improve their ways of agriculture. Guess what? When we received the mobile contacts, we realized all of them were registered under who? Under men. And then we went back and asked ourselves, what is it that is leading to women in terms of thinking that they can always get a stipend through their husbands, spouses, or through their brothers? And we had to reprogram again and go back and talk to the men and understand, for them to understand the reasons as to why we want this stipend to go to women. And then now the other part of it was now to look at mechanization, where we wanted to make work easier for both men and women in these communities. But then we realized that most women were not able to operate tractors. So what does that tell you? It tells you that there are issues and underlying issues that we need to deal with. And in response towards this, we need always to look at the agency, the structure, and relations. The agency, we are looking at the capacity. We are looking at things that are touching on the decision making. How can we support women at the communities with also looking at the angle that men are bringing in for them to be able to produce? And I like the question that you asked in terms of, can women, 70%, be able to feed this the continent? Yes and no. Why? Because if we are not plowing that agency, if we are not working on the environmental issues and the structures, it is going to be very difficult for that to work. And then the other thing in terms of climate smart agriculture is about the literacy levels. We are planning programs and preparing interventions that are not cascaded to reach women at the local level. We are using models that are too high. And within this program, we had to work on different models. The social analysis and action model, which looks at the person themselves being transformed. The social cultural norms. What are these norms that are impeding women to participate in interventions? And then the community scorecard, where the community themselves, the farmers themselves, are able now to plan interventions, ask themselves, what is it that is affecting women? What are the issues affecting men? And how can we collectively work on these issues? And by the end of this program, we were able now to see realizations of women now being able to participate more, women being able to contribute when it comes to decisions. And women were able now to discuss matters pertaining to nutrition because their agency was improved. The structures that are required were also really given a lens that would contribute towards equality. And therefore, responding to this question on a final touch, it's for us to always think as programmers, as people who are working on interventions, how do we bring men and women? Yes, we know there are inequalities. Yes, we know that there are issues underlying, but then how can we bring men within interventions for them to also support the efforts that we are going to build for women? Otherwise, we are going to deepen the gaps of inequality, and we are not going to see this realization of 70% of women being able to feed the continent.
That's one of the solutions. How will you bring men and women to, so that we can be able to work together? Give us one solution because you're a gender expert.
Sure. In terms of our designs of programs, we need to start by doing a gender analysis. I know most donors have not been able to fund gender analysis, but within the evaluations that we do, it is very important for us to disaggregate data by gender and also by sex. What does that mean? Let us know how many women and how many men within that intervention. And the second thing is, we need to go beyond the statistics. We have seen most women are going through these challenges. How then can we plan our interventions that are going to really help in terms of lifting or leveraging the levels of women to be at par with the levels that men are at? And then the other thing that we have to do is using frameworks, approaches, and models that are going to ensure that both men and women participate in interventions. Fine, yes, I know we have inequalities where women are being left behind, and that is where within your interventions you have to come up with activities that are going to bring the literate levels of women, where you are going to see on how women themselves can project and their agency is also built. And most of the time we end up calling for interventions and meetings at the wrong timings. And the gender analysis will share with you the activity and time profile. Don't call for a meeting at 6 a.m. and expect all women to come for meetings. Don't call for a meeting at 6 p.m. and expect women to come at the meetings at the community level. That gender analysis will help you in terms of gauging through that. And then another solution is also planning your interventions by looking at the different roles. We have reproductive, community, and also productive roles. Analyze and get to understand there are reproductive roles that are carried by women at the community level. How then are you going to design your interventions to take in cognizance in regards to the same? The community roles. I've had our facilitator talking about men who are on the roadside. Then how do you really look at interventions in a way such that even the ones at the roadside are able to participate, because they are the same men who go back at home and ask for these women. You've gone to the farm, you've gone to the market, bring all the proceeds that you've gotten from the sales. So we have to really be holistic in these interventions by use of models, approaches, and frameworks that are going to bring all at the same place.
Very interesting.
I just wanted to add on that, and I think that's key. Us at the Integrated Center for Sustainable Systems, we realize that there's a nexus between agriculture and education. And you'll realize that the larger part of farmers are actually illiterate. So what they do, they use old practices, which are not necessarily bad, but they do not know how to manage even their finances, because now they don't have the proper financial education for it. So we realize that it's important for us to educate farmers, and by educating farmers, we will ensure that we are able to create better farmers who are able to incorporate this climate smart. So if someone has not attained even class 8 education, how do you tell them, climate smart? They'll be like, what is climate? And you realize that, again, this links up, they are interconnected. Because they don't go to school and they don't do proper farming practices, what happens is they don't have enough disposable income. And what happens in a family like that, most women are told, or most girls are told, you're not going to go to school, your brother will go to school, and your brother will continue and move on, and then the girl is left there. Again, the cycle continues. Yeah, so we need to find a nexus between, that integration between the education and agriculture. And for example, we have a project in Turkana County. So we are currently campaigning to restore River Takwel. And River Takwel is one of the longest rivers in Kenya. But when it gets to Turkana, it starts to dry up. And the problem we saw here, what it's creating, yes, hunger, it's creating climate conflict now. And what happens in the climate conflict is that the women are left widows and the children, right? Because the men have gone to fight, right? So it's important. So we decided that, by restoring the banks of these rivers, what we are going to do is we're going to restore the ecosystem, and this will allow farmers will allow us to have a new breed of farmers there, right? And also will allow us to improve the economic system of that area, because by getting food, one will be able to go to school, one will be able to improve their health, right? And then we created, to create a sustainable community altogether. Yes.
So I'm told our time is up. we just started and we are finished. Okay.
Sitting here, I am so challenged by so many things. Number one, I sit on a lot of data in terms of basically how many women have I worked with in the onion value chain for the last 2 years. We've been operational for 2 years. That's data I sit on. I sit on data on how many women, do they own land, do they lease land? That's data that I have. How do they sell their product? And I'm challenged. I am going to do something about that data. And more to it, I'm also challenged by the bracket of the other women, but I also want to bring up these other women who we are probably here, and probably the ones that I work with. How many of those women do I work with that when they come to my farm for training, they go back, or when I go to their farms and consult, that they train others, and other women are also able to make money out of it. I want to mention, recently we introduced a package, a collaboration between us who do onions and an irrigation company to do smart irrigation systems, drip irrigation plus lady seed, we have seedlings, and practices of what you can do until you harvest onions. And with as low as 40,000 shillings, bringing it so low, we realize there's a bracket of women in Kenya who can afford that comfortably because you don't have to pay immediately. You can pay about three months, and then once you're done paying the 40,000 shillings, you go and implement. And we are seeing people, women, uptaking that. I am challenged, I am going to do better in terms of data and what I do with data. And I'm also going to sit down and say, okay, sorry, the last one. In Kimana, if you go and visit Kimana, Mashuru, farmers, you know those areas, you'll be surprised at how the local women are uptaking agriculture. Not at production level, because the reality is producing is expensive, but you'll find those women carrying watermelons from the farm to the truck. Easily, you'll find those women, what you call grade 2 when you're sorting whatever you sort tomatoes, they're the ones you'll find them at the road in the evening selling. Those are, I mean, maybe examples, just by doing it there, you go to Kimana and you see the Maasai ladies, I was shocked. They have merry-go-rounds within themselves. There are 30 women working in the farm, but they have organized themselves. There's one who is cooking for the rest, there's one who's, it's amazing. So maybe what we need to do beyond maybe the women who need support in terms of money, it's the other women who need information. Yeah.
Thank you. Powerful words. For me, what I would look at is what other colleagues have said, especially on cultural integrations. I remember a case whereby the machinery were introduced for women, but the women were so used to digging, using the very small for what is it called, for weeding sorghum and millet. And why was that the case? It was because during that period, that's when they do what we call moshene, and that's how they actually prefer to use that than the machinery. So we need to also integrate, the cultural practices. If for example, women cannot wake up at 6 or be in the meeting not wake up, but be at a meeting at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., what can we do that is factoring in their usual day-to-day activities and then plug into that? We have to acknowledge that in our cultural societies, especially in the African center, men are the people who take the money. That's a fact. But then how do we ensure that when they are taking that money, the woman is aware of that money and how much it is so that it can help that family? I know in coffee and tea sector, it's already being implemented. Money cannot be given if the wife is not there. So these are things that we need to look at. How do we integrate culture and our technologies? We have a lot of climate smart agricultural technologies. One of them, I'll talk about what we are doing at CropNuts, soil testing. Currently we have a packet that is, I think, very affordable. It's like 1,000 shillings if you're buying in bulk and 1,350 at retail price. I mean, that's a price that most farmers can afford. And what is that if you're dividing that with 3 years, just to ensure that your soil is at the level where you can achieve your yields and still be able to mitigate climate change. So let's all go back to basics. Let's start with the soil. Thank you.
Views there. My final... Benson has something to say.
No, finish up now.
Women need to be empowered generally, like just empowerment, for them to be able to have a say on the table, for them to be able to even make the decisions. Today I'm planting onions. No, we planted onions last season. This season we plant cabbages. Let us have this conversation of empowering women and even telling them about climate smart. We might be talking about climate smart, but probably someone from the village is watching us right now and they don't even understand what exactly is this climate smart. You can tell them, you grow bracharia or lusan as a I don't know, you call it the crop, the cover crop. Yes, and then katikati you put cabbages, then mixed farming, right? So this, I had a lot of questions, but we only started and we've ended. But we usually have these kinds of shows on our social media platform on Facebook at Afarmers. We always have our webinars every Friday. These are the conversations that we usually have. So when we call you, kindly avail yourselves, make time so that you can be able to have these conversations. They are usually longer, not shorter like today's. But thank you so much, my panel. It has been an exciting session.
Could you give a proper round of applause to all of them? You could please take your seats back. Thank you very much. And let me just do a quick recap of this first panel. Oh, sorry. Okay, don't want to do a photograph first. Okay, so please come back on the stage, kindly. Sorry about that. Manyara, are you here? No, just please stand so we can do a photograph with everybody standing in the front. Yes. Manyara, you want to take that photograph? Yeah. So we're just going to do a photograph for our records. And as they're taking the photograph, I can actually speak so that we will not lose up on time on that. So very quickly, climate smart agriculture, in as much as it may sound like a very foreign term, I think Nekesa has wrapped it up very, very well. It's nothing. It's actually very indigenous to our communities in the global south. There is nothing new. In fact, it is interesting that now the global north is actually copying and taking up from us. So everything that was discarded and that was looked at as primitive is now what everybody's going actually back to. And it's interesting, and I want to mention this. So exactly a week ago, I was back at home in the village, and for the first time, we're going to have 3 harvests of mangoes. So in as much as we talk about climate change, there are also actually very interesting aspects of it. We have never had 3 seasons of mangoes, but the mangoes are fruiting again and they're flowering, which means we're going to have a 3rd season of mangoes this year. And this has also been because of climate change. So we need to look at things positively. And the takeout that I'll probably give everybody in this room is that if we're a bit more observant about our environment, if we're a bit more intentional and looking at what goes on around us, we actually have a lot of the solutions within us. It is so obvious when I hear everybody, and Sheena had said this before, there is too much siloed information, too much. We have all the information, we're not connecting, we're not communicating, and therefore, hence why we purportedly have a food problem. And I shall repeat the word purportedly, because we don't. We've got excess food in this country that is going into waste. So hopefully going forward, we're going to find a way of ensuring that we can integrate and people can actually share information across so that going forward, we no longer have a food problem, but we're sorting out the logistics and we're using the data that we have so that we can move food where it needs to be. And also the other thing is that post-harvest loss is one of our greatest problems. And you know why? Because we're not doing simple things like just drying our foods and using them later. It's not rocket science. We also need to be honest, and I am as blunt as they come. It is not in the interest of big global corporations in the ag business sector for us to be successful as small farmers, because it then does not favor them. So it's time that we've got to look after ourselves, we've got to work amongst ourselves, so that then we become the big global agri-business that go head to head with these other people, but for the benefit of our people. So we're doing good in time, we're catching up very, very quickly. And I want to call upon our next panel, but just before I do that, just give me one quick second. Please, if you look on your tables, if you scan that, there is the program which is there, so you can follow up. We're also streaming live on Afarmers Media on the Facebook platform, so please let your people know that we're streaming live. And remember, again, the hashtag is Climate Smart Agriculture. So I want to call upon the next panel to come forward, and our next panel discussion, just a minute please, is on the role of technology in agriculture. Oh, I'm the moderator. Interesting. Okay, so these are our panelists. If they could please come forward. Sheena, please take a seat in front. Harriet, you're here? Is Harriet here? I don't think she made it on time. Okay, that's fine. Rosanne? Yes, kindly come forward. Pauline Kamara, please come forward. And Jared Juma. Jared, please come forward. Great. Okay, so we're going to talk about the role of tech in agriculture, and this panel will also end at 10:33, so that we can ensure that we can catch up with some time and everybody can go about doing what they need to do. So this time I'll start with the gentleman, Jared. So if you could just very briefly introduce yourself again, because we have a live audience, and anybody who has caught up with us may be interested in knowing what we're doing here and why we're here. And also then just go ahead and make some introductory remarks straight away.
Okay, thank you. My name is Juma Jared. I work with Cinefa. Cinefa is an agri-tech company trying to solve the major challenges which are faced in agriculture. With climate change, we need to change the way in which we are producing. And how best can we do that? Is by using smart solutions, by using data analytics, and by supporting farmers more, using previous data and machine learning. Thank you.
Sorry, if I could just stop you right there. Could I have Wamboco apple farmers join the panel here so we don't have a blank seat? And I want to speak because she also uses tech in agriculture. So when people think about tech, they're thinking about it very high level. She uses YouTube, and I want to introduce that and so that people can understand where we're at. Thank you. Please join us. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rosanne Muangi. I am of a company called The Insectary. It's the factory for insects. We work with black soldier fly. The black soldier fly has become a buzzword, but more importantly, it is an amazing insect because it takes roughly 10 to 14 days, roughly 2 weeks, to degenerate waste and produce high quality soil amendments that then go back into the farms to become manure, to become substrate for things like mushrooms, etc. So I'm happy to be here, and I'll be talking more about the ag tech bit of black soldier fly and waste management. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Catherine Wamboco. On social media, I'm called Kate, the Apple Ambassador, the Wamboco. I'm trying to, or have been, what my father started is what I'm trying to take it higher. When I grow up, he started something, he could not be able to take it higher. And since we are in this kind of social generation, I took it over, and not only the name of Wamboco, but the product itself, because this is food. This is something that will make us go higher as a Kenyan, because we know that apples come from outside the country, from other continent, or also South Africa. But now as Kenya, we are proud having this. And as farmers, I think one thing that has been bringing us down is that we don't have that know-how to do things. Like the first panel we're talking about, we don't have network. But I thank God because of this discussion we are having today, it is going to give us more ideas, more directions on the farming, because farming, it is that other thing that you do when you fail to do what you are doing. But as for now, I want to be a farmer. Even those kids that are in CBC, they will say, I want to be a farmer in future. Thank you so much.
So Kate has joined this panel, and anybody who's watching us and following us is because she has successfully used YouTube and social media to expand the business of Wamboco farmers across the continent. So when you talk about tech, tech is just not what the previous panelists spoke about. I want to show you how tech can come to what you also have currently on your fingertips. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Pauline Kamara. I'm the Managing Director of Apiculture Venture. I'm also known as the Queen Bee of the industry because I deal with the pollinators, which are the bees. And this is a very important area for us as beekeepers because one of the threats to the pollinators today is climate change. Despite all in as much as the other threats, climate change is one of the greatest threats to the pollinators. And we are working also to help beekeepers adapt to technology using different technological advancements that are in the industry today. So today is quite a great day for us to be able to be in this panel also because we'll discuss climate change and technology advancement in beekeeping and honey production. Thank you.
Queen Bee, welcome. The last time I saw you, there was two of you, so I can only see one of you, so the other one must be at home. Congratulations. Boy or girl? Boy. Oh, congratulations. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sheena Raikandalia, and I'm the Country Director for the UK Kenya Tech Hub. So we're part of the British government, but based here in Nairobi with the British High Commission. So agri and agri-tech is just a passion area of mine. So my tech hub covers a lot of tech, but I'm going to talk about agri-tech. And the reason why this is a passion of mine is because I'm really, really sick of this perception that the world has of Africa with starving Africans and everybody having to come and feed us. Like I said, I believe that Africa and Kenya, Africa, we can feed ourselves and we can feed the world, provided we do certain things. And I think first of all, it starts with a mindset shift, right? When we think about farmers, and I think we've done a lot about women farmers, older generation of farmers, you know, the statistics show farmers are, you know, above 60, most of them are like above 60, whereas in Kenya, 75% of people are under 35. So I think for me, it's, let's move away from the language of agriculture and farming into agribusiness. Let's make agriculture fun, sexy, exciting, and also let's make money from it. Right? The minute you start bringing in technology and the ability to make money, all these smart minds who are working in Facebook and Google and trying to get us to be on our social media screens and creating like buttons, get them into our sector, get them into agriculture, and we'll see how things will move. So I think it really, really starts with the mindset shift. And technology is an awesome tool, but that's what it is. It's just a tool, it's an enabler, it's not a magic bullet.
So Sheena, right off that, and if you can continue on what you just said. So why is tech important in agriculture?
Yeah. So when we think about tech and you think, what, you know, where's the connection? I think if you look at the whole agriculture value chain, right, how does it start? It starts with people producing, then it's your post-harvest, then it's getting them to the market, and then it's, you know, it's eventually people buying, eating, and it's a whole, and that's the whole cycle. And tech can actually help in each aspect. So first of all, if you look at it, you should grow as a farmer what people are eating or what people want. How do you know what people want? That's data, that's tech. Now you want to understand what is the best environment to grow what. So you need soil testing, and I was happy to see crop nuts here. Again, that's technology to see what you should be using to grow. Finally, you've got like, and before I go on, I think let's not think about tech as just high tech. You see, there is high tech, there is low tech. Getting somebody on Facebook and selling, or WhatsApp and selling your tomatoes and then integrating it with a boda driver, that's tech. You couldn't do that before. The fact that you're selling your tomatoes on WhatsApp and integrating with a boda driver, that's tech. So a lot of the times I say the word tech and people just switch off. Oh, it's not for me. It is for everybody. That is simple. Tech is just how do you do something more efficiently, right? So in all aspects, whether you're the grower, whether you're the marketer, whether tech comes in, even if you're trying to sell, like as you said, the selling via YouTube, your 4PM, your trusted, you know, everything is around tech. It's not a silver bullet, like I said, but it can be used to make every single step in the agri-value chain better. And the biggest one that it's not doing so far, as I keep going back onto, is the distribution. You have people who want tomatoes to make tomato ketchup and tomato paste, and they want to sell it everywhere, and they can't find tomatoes, and yet there's farmers all across growing tomatoes that are being wasted. There's a big use case. Let us use technology to find out who is growing what where. Let us use technology to get the transport, the distribution, and get it to the people who can pay for it, and then let's sell it globally and for ourselves.
Thank you very much. I want to go back to the insecretary. And so anybody who's joined in and who's watching us, we will not speak about things like modern greenhouse, about AI and all that. You know why? Because you can Google that on your own time. I want to speak about things that are actually happening on the ground in this country that can move us forward. So I'm going to go back to her. Tell us, because that is tech. You said 14 days. You mentioned some very interesting timelines. And that is some great things that we need to know. So tell us a little bit more about the insecretary and what kind of technology you're applying there and how that is agriculture.
Thank you very much. So at the insecretary, our core business is growing of protein for animal feed. This protein comes from the black soldier fly larvae. And the larvae comes from the black soldier fly's eggs, which takes about 14 to 21 days, given the conditions of the weather conditions. In Africa, we have the best weather conditions for black soldier fly farming: warm, humid, and light for a majority part of the day.
You mean you're telling us that the fly that comes in our house, is that what we're talking about? No, I want our audiences to really connect with us, because, when you say black soldier fly, I'm thinking that maybe it's something I have to import, come by. So, let us just break it down so people understand where we are at.
All right.
Yes.
The black soldier fly is a fly, but it is not the regular common house fly. Common house fly is Musca domestica. Black soldier fly is Hamatia. Hamatia is indigenous to Africa. Maybe that is what I should be talking about. You'll find it everywhere and anywhere, but it does not eat as an adult. So it is not, the housefly is characteristic by its, moving from space to space, thereby also becoming a vector of diseases, etc. The black soldier fly is very docile. Its main aim is really, from my observation, to lay as many eggs as possible, so that it can give as many larvae as possible, so that it can degenerate as much waste as possible. In itself, it is a factory of, degenerating waste. And so what we have done is that we have taken it with the help of the insect ISIPE, which is headquartered here in Kenya, the International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology, as well as support from partners such as Rockefeller, who are looking at insect-based feeds, insect-based food and feed, because with insects you can get quick protein, and protein being what it is, it's a high-value commodity, and getting it at 14 days is much, much better than having acres and acres of, say, soybean, which becomes another whole conundrum in terms of even climate-smart agriculture. You know very well the kind of quantities that soybean requires, which then brings in issues of monocropping, etc. So with black soldier fly as a solution to protein, we get to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. We get to address the issue of protein in our animal foods. We get to address issues of waste. And we get to address issues of women in tech, because whereas you can have big insectaries like what I am probably running medium scale, it's also possible to have it at a modular level. Any and every one of you here, you have kitchens, you cook every day, right? You can have a small insectary, because all that kitchen waste can then be put into a crate, and you can introduce a few eggs, and the cycle will go on. Every day that you have waste is every day that you can create some black soldier fly larvae for chicken, for fish, and for pigs. They are usually eaten by monogastrics.
I'm definitely coming back to you on that. Queen Bee, since we're talking about insects, I'll come right back to you. A hive. Is there any technology involved in this? Because everybody's wondering, now you're sitting here to speak about tech in agriculture. What does an apiary have to do with technology in agriculture?
Thank you very much for that question. One thing we need to know is that bees pollinate up to 85% of the crops that we depend on. So without these pollinators, approximately 4 years, humankind will be dead. So that's how important I am as I sit here as a beekeeper. So how is technology involved in this? We find many people match beekeeping with older generation. If I walk in today and I told somebody I'm a beekeeper, they will not understand. I'm a beekeeper operating 1,000 beehives. How am I able to operate 1,000 beehives, yet I operate in Nairobi? I need technology. I need not high-tech, as she said, simple. I put a barcode on my beehive, I put the program on my phone, and I'm able to scan that code based on the location where it is. It will give me the weather patterns of that area. It will give me the weight of the beehive every day, so I will know, is my colony growing? Is there honey in that beehive? So that is technology in simple terms. Currently there's also research going on using the African bees to determine aflatoxins in maize. That is technology.
Wow.
Yeah. These are research that is going on using African